Hey, good morning out there, Friendship Village. This is the voice of Friendship Village coming at you once again. And we're in our studios, and we're sitting across the room from our special guest that you'll meet in just a few minutes. But first of all, we wanted to... Oh, wait. This just in from the police headquarters. Did you hear about the kidnapping at the daycare center? Kidnapping at the daycare center.
Oh.
Well, he finally woke up.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, and
The kidnapping. Oh.
and mention of the kidnapping story reminds me to tell you that our sponsor for this episode is our daycare center, and they've been our sponsor before, but they do such a great work. We wanted to honor them once again, and for you who have gone over as volunteers on Wednesday morning or other times, I'm sure you've had a good time, and I always hear good reports from those who go, and so we're just happy to say that the daycare center is our sponsor once again, and we know they do a good work, and so we tip our hats to them today. And Mary, did you have anything to say along that line?
Well, I was one of the volunteers that went over there, and I surely do miss it. But we're hoping within the next month or so that they will open that back up for the grandmas and grandpas to go over and be with the little children.
Okay, good. Yeah. Shouldn't be too long, I wouldn't
We're
think.
hoping.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, thank you, daycare center staff, for your dedication and good work for the little ones. And so, let's see, what else should we say today before we get into our interview? Anything on your mind, Mary?
Well, fall is coming, so get out your fall decorations, Halloween, Thanksgiving. Decorate your place if you wish.
Okay.
And we used to like the smell of the fall, the burning leaves, but can't do that anymore. But fall is a beautiful time of year.
I see on the front door of one of our residents on the first floor has a little sign that says, "I love fall most of all." So I don't know if I'd go that far, but for some people, I guess
Yes.
fall is a special time of the year. So
We know what it leads into. That's the bad part.
it leads into snowflakes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank goodness I don't have to shovel a sidewalk any longer.
Right, or even sweep.
Or sweep, yeah. So, appreciate that. Hey, our interview, let's see, what are you, Mary? We're the interviewer, so you're the interviewee, right? This is Mary Miller, is our special guest for this program, and we'd like to welcome you, Mary.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Good. And I know Mary Craven, my capable co-host, is ready with some questions.
Yes, isn't it unique that we have two Marys on tap
Yeah,
today?
this might get a little confusing.
Yeah, we don't want to
Yes.
get it too confusing here, so Mary M. and Mary C.
Okay.
What we usually do when we start out, Mary, is kind of get some background on you first. Like, where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born in Waterloo at Allen Hospital, and I think I was here about a year. My parents and my sister lived on Home Park, and then we moved to Dubuque, and I was there during my preschool years. I don't remember much about Dubuque except Eagle Point Park.
Hey, I remember Dubuque. I used to live in Dubuque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, we moved to Des Moines right at the end of the war. And so my kindergarten through about 5th grade, I was in Des Moines, public school there.
Okay.
So, as far as things in Des Moines, I was kind of shy, so I don't remember being real active, but I enjoyed Girl Scouts or what, and I took drama classes, and I loved that. I'd catch the bus, go down to Drake University, and on a Saturday morning take drama classes. Yeah.
Interesting. Huh?
Yeah.
As a elementary age?
Yeah, as an elementary age kid. Yeah.
Okay.
We could do that in those
Wow.
days.
Yeah.
Right. So, but then my father purchased a small Chevrolet dealership in Melbourne, Iowa,
Okay.
which is in Marshall County, not too far from Marshalltown. And I was there for the rest of my school years. And it was really the best thing that happened to me as a young person. Because, as any of you who have grown up in a small town, the village kind of raises you. And that's what happened to me in Melbourne.
That's the slogan of our daycare, isn't it? It takes a village.
Yeah, right. Well, and it certainly, because it was small,
Uh-huh.
school was small, and you were able to enter into all sorts of activities, basketball, 4-H, and so on.
Okay.
It was good for me.
And after you graduated?
And after I graduated, then I went to the University of Iowa. I thought I wanted to go to Iowa State because Melbourne isn't all that far from Ames, and my sister had gone to Ames for a couple years. But my interest and my skills were in other areas, more the liberal art areas. So I was encouraged to go to the University of Iowa, and it was good. So I was there during the Forrest Evaszewski years,
Yes.
and so I was able to go to the Rose Bowl in '58, and I was active in my sorority, and it was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
So you graduated with a degree in?
Social studies, and very wisely, my freshman counselor said, well, yeah, I know you'll do well in social studies with your skill level and so on and so forth, history and so on.
Okay.
But you probably should pick a minor that's a little different. And then he looked at my high school records. See, he saw that I had taken Latin, and he said, well, why don't you take Spanish as a minor? So I ended up taking Spanish as a minor, and fortunately, that's what always helped me get
Oh.
employment.
Okay.
So,
¿Cómo está?
muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Okay.
So where was your first teaching job?
My first teaching job was in Littleton, Colorado. My sister and her husband and little boy lived there at that time, so I actually lived with them.
Oh.
And by that time, I had met my future husband, and I was hoping that he would decide to go to Colorado, because I loved Colorado. I loved higher altitude climate. But he decided to return to his hometown of Waterloo. And so, after being in Littleton for 1 year, I really enjoyed teaching there, because I got to teach world history and Spanish, which I loved. But then we came back to Waterloo. So, yeah.
So you were married in what year?
1963.
Okay.
Yeah, married.
And you settled in Waterloo?
Settled in Waterloo, taught at part-time Spanish at West High
Okay.
for 3 years, and I think back on those because it was my minor. I never could really get a job teaching history, which was definitely my strong suit, because a lot of the coaches taught social studies. So I had to find another area, but anyway, yeah.
So did you find any output of your Spanish training? I mean, anything?
Yeah,
like that?
well, fortunately, while I was in college, I had a summer schooling in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Oh.
And so that had helped a lot. And then I really didn't do too much extra as far as schooling or until later on in my career.
Okay.
So I taught for 3 years at West High part-time, and then we started our family, and so I was busy with the children from about 67 to 1980.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
So that was a sabbatical from teaching.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Sort of.
except I was really busy because I was involved in a lot of community volunteer things. Everything from homeroom mother to PTA, junior league.
Okay.
When I first came back to Waterloo, I actually was in community theater. I enjoyed that, but after the children came, that wasn't really great because, a lot of the evening rehearsals, so
Sure.
yeah, that didn't go over too well.
So did you have contact with Chuck Stillwell?
I did not. It was
Oh.
before Chuck, right after, he came shortly after I
Okay.
phased out of that
All right.
interest. But yeah, when I was volunteering a lot, I did things for props and things for the children's theater. And then, of course, later on, my daughter got interested in theater, so yeah.
Okay.
So as far as children, what did you have for children?
We have 2 boys and girls. The girl's the oldest, and she was born in 67 and 69, 72. So the kids were all pretty close together, and which is fortunate. They're all still good friends and get along well.
Good.
And they live
But
far
none of
apart.
them live nearby.
No.
No. No.
The closest one, my daughter, is in Madison, Wisconsin. Her family is there. And then I have one on the West Coast and right now in West Hollywood. And then another one on the East Coast near Charleston. He lives in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Well, we like to say that our program is being listened to from coast to coast. We have people out east, people out west. We know of who listen. So
Yes, and my granddaughter in Minneapolis listens.
So
We have Northern.
you'll have to be sure and tell your children
I will, yeah,
to tune in so we can.
I will do that.
So since coming to Friendship Village, tell us a little bit. How did you and your husband decide to move here?
Well, he's born and raised in Waterloo.
Okay.
And he had been away for his college studies.
Yeah.
But then he went to law school in Iowa City. And of course, that's where we met. And
Yeah,
when
okay.
he interviewed, I guess the best job opportunities for him, at least at that time, were in Waterloo.
Okay.
So that's why we came back. And his parents were still living then, so that was good. They enjoyed having him
Okay.
nearby.
Yeah.
And the grandchildren at that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And then what year did you come to Friendship Village?
well, we came here in 2009. So, from 1980 to 86, kind of to fill in the blanks here, I worked at the Grout Museum, which was wonderful because I finally got to use my interest in history.
Yeah.
And I loved working there. So I was a volunteer coordinator and archivist. That was a lot of...
What was that word?
Archivist.
Archivist.
Yes. I was their first archivist, so to speak.
ARCH.
Which is, to take care of the records, paper records, the photographs.
Take care of the arcs.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
The newspaper clippings, all the
Oh. All right.
all the written records.
The history, like you
history,
like.
the history,
Yes.
like I liked.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then in '87, was it '86, '87? Yeah. A friend of mine, Marty Seibert, who now lives at Landmark Commons, recruited me to teach Spanish. There we go again, at Don Bosco. So I taught there for a year, and then I subbed at Central High School in Spanish again. See how it keeps coming back?
Yes, well, they need Spanish
Yeah, yeah.
teachers.
And then I started at West High, and I worked for about 15 years with Marisa Van Dorn, and she is a new resident at Village Terrace. So
Okay.
it's funny how all these people keep
That's
circling
right. They're all
back
gonna
into my
retire
life.
here.
Yeah.
And then at that time, I had a lot more experiences in Spanish-speaking countries. So, yeah.
Great.
Do you ever take your classes on Spanish trips?
Well, this friend of mine who was at West High was kind of the head honcho. She's Cuban, and she every several years would take a group of high school students to Spain and several other European countries. So I went on those with her, and then also a couple of us went to Guatemala, and then I went to Spain and spent the summer in Spain in 1994.
Okay.
So, yeah. So slowly I build up my proficiency.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
Sounds really good.
yeah, so.
Now, do you take any Spanish magazines or newspapers or anything to
No,
kind of
not-
keep
Not
it?
now. The most recent thing I did was my granddaughter, who's very interested in languages. She and I went 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah. Well, it was before the pandemic anyway. We went to South America. We went to Argentina and Chile together and
Oh.
toured those countries. So
Oh, wow.
it was more fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. Yeah.
Hmm.
And she was.
So you've been kind of a worldwide traveler.
Yeah, I've done a lot. You know, I thought, what did I do all those years? And I started looking at all the things we'd done as a family, trips we'd taken. And then things that I'd done separately because of my interest in Spanish. It seemed like I was always packing a suitcase or preparing the kids to go someplace.
Hey, let's take a little pause here in our interview. And during this time, we'd like to just mention again to our listeners that this program is being brought to you by our daycare center. And we think they do a fine job for the community, and we certainly appreciate them. And so next time you might have a visit there, just come with a big broad smile and know that the kids are well looked after. And also, just a reminder again, for anyone who out there might be interested in being interviewed on our podcast, all they have to do is go to the secretary of the building they're in and let that be known, and they'll get in touch with us, with Mary or myself, and we'll take it from there. So, anything else at this juncture, Mary?
Well,
We're gonna-
I can't think of anything. I might ask Mary what you like about living here in Friendship Village.
Oh, well, as I said, my husband and I moved in 12 years ago, I guess, 2009. And he loved the fact that he didn't have any maintenance. I think that was his number one favorite thing.
Okay.
I really, it's kind of funny, I got kind of involved in a few things that first couple of years that I moved in. And at one time I remember volunteering to teach line dancing over at the Cove. It didn't last too long, but it was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
I'd like to resurrect that class. That
Yeah,
sounds
well,
like-
one of the biggest volunteer things I did, and I did this for about 8 years, I think, was I facilitated the Third Age Book Club.
the book club, yes.
Actually, there were 2 of them, and I met so many people that I hadn't known before because it was over here at Village Place, and I
Yeah.
lived over in one of the cottages.
Yeah.
So it was great to get acquainted with people that way. And we read a lot of good books. So,
Yeah.
And they still have a book club
They
here.
do. They do.
But do you come over for that?
I don't, because I was so into that, and I knew I had to give it up because my husband needed more and more assistance at home, and it took quite a bit of time to prepare it the way I wanted to prepare it. And so I thought, I think I better just back off and let whoever takes it over just establish their own routine. And I may go back to it someday,
Sure.
because I do like the books that they are able to read.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And with the new building and all of our new residents coming in, there might be a lot of opportunities for different groupings over there.
Exactly.
Activities,
Exactly.
the book clubs, the music, so many things that are going to take place that will involve all of us, of course.
Right. Yeah, and the other thing I got recruited, and that was through Nancy Shirey, was for the Friendship Village Foundation.
Right.
And I just was learning for several years. I was the secretary, so I had to learn that way. And now I'm a little more active in a leadership role. So
You're the president. You can't get any more leader than that.
well, yeah.
So,
It's a big responsibility, I understand.
But the foundation, the auxiliary, I think people are more aware of because it is right there on the front lines, working in the lodge, the landing, and the med center.
right.
And they do wonderful work. And the foundation is the one that, of course, is responsible for collecting a lot of the money, taking care of it, seeing that it grows, and then
But it's more of
investing it.
In the background kind
Well,
of an
yes.
operation. Yeah.
And since the child care is being the sponsor, the foundation is the one that gave them their seed money, so to speak,
Right.
Sure.
to start. So
Yep. Yeah.
I think it was $300,000.
That was a great
Right.
great thing to do.
To keep them operational and things that they need over there.
Right.
I think they're pretty well set now, though.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let me just share a quick story about Mary. One of the reasons I know Mary is because we were both involved in one of Don Benson's extravaganzas, and the theme was movies, movies that we knew. So Mary and I were cast into roles for the movies. Gone with the Wind. Thank you, Mary. Gone with the Wind. So I was Brett Butler, and Mary was
Scarlett O'Hara.
Charlotte O'Hara. So at one point in our little scene, I was to walk down and sort of meet up with you, and we were just going to kind of stroll up and down like we were in the garden or something. So there would have to be some way for people to see that we were sort of talking, and so I just figured, well, I'd go down there and I'll grab her arm and we'll just kind of mouth something, or maybe I'll grunt a little bit. But Mary picked up and asked me an intelligent question about the war or something. I had no idea it was coming, and so I kind of just bluffed my way out of that one. But
And I don't
just like Mary to come up with an intelligent
I
question.
don't remember that at all because I was so busy trying to manage my curtain rod costume,
Yeah.
which of course was a takeoff on that Carol Burnett
Yes.
skit
Yes.
years ago from TV.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yes, I was also in that skit. We did Nancy Pitts and I did the skit from Hairspray.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we had big crinoline skirts, and we had stupid wigs, and we kind of danced across the stage, and it was
That was good.
it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
Goofy but good.
It was fun. And it got a lot of people involved.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
I mean, it was just, everybody was on board.
It was.
And it was a
wonderful.
lot of fun. Yeah.
Don did a great job with all those performances that he had people do it. He brought out the acting part of many residents that didn't think they could act.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Right.
You probably still don't think they can act, but they did.
Well, hey, we're kind of almost winding down here, and
Well, I have a little
oh,
jokey story here.
a jokey story.
A jokey story. I got it out of the Reader's Digest, so some of you may have read already. A guy's grandfather clock stopped working. He called a repair shop to get it fixed, but they wanted $50 to come and get it. I'll bring it to you, the guy said. So he strapped the clock to his back and started walking down the big hill he lived on. Halfway down he slipped, and he slid down the hill into the town just as a lady was crossing the street. He barreled into her and knocked her over. Dazed, disgruntled, and still on the ground, she asked, "Why can't you just wear a wristwatch like everyone else?"
One more question, one more joke, not question, but one more joke about the daycare center. And I heard this, I think last week, that the police had a call to go and investigate at the daycare center. And so I asked the person who was telling me, I said, well, what was the problem? And he said, well, there was this 3-year-old who was resisting arrest.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Resisting
That would be typical.
arrest. Yes.
Resisting an arrest.
We want to thank Mary again for coming and sharing, and we just got a little bit of a view of her life that I'm sure sounds very interesting.
Yes, she's
And,
had a very interesting career and background.
Yeah, so, but thanks again, Mary, for being here. And so we're about ready to sign off. Unless you have any parting words, Mary, any words of wisdom?
Oh, I wish I did, but
Oh.
One little side note I have is one time Mary's son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren from California were visiting.
Yes.
And for some reason, they stopped by my apartment. And we got to visiting. Well, eventually I became a pen pal of Mary's granddaughter, Elsa.
Elsa, yes.
Elsa. We
Yes.
started writing back and forth, and she lived in California.
Oh,
So we
my.
would write letters back and forth. And that was really fun.
Yes. And
I would tell them that I got a letter from Elsa, and Mary's husband, Rick, would say, well, we didn't hear from her, but I would hear from her.
Right.
So that went on for a few years, and now I haven't heard from her for a long time, but I still have her address, and I could send her something.
I
but-
meant to bring, she sent me for my birthday, it's kind of a cartoon drawing of the two of us. Me as Grandma and her as Elsa. It's really cute. I will bring it over and share
Okay.
it with you.
Okay, you do that.
Okay, folks, this comes to our close here on the podcast with Mary, and we appreciate her being here. And as we often like to say at the end, may the good Lord bless and keep you till we meet again. Bye for now.
Goodbye.
Hi.